So yesterday we lost Sulli, one of the talented former members of the girl group FX. It's going to be a very heavy topic, but it's really an issue that's very dear to my heart. I lost my own sister to depression and suicide back in 2005, and I myself suffer from clinical depression starting from my early 20s and multiple times. So I really wanted to dedicate this video to educate people on what really seems to be going on and asking for feedback as well. It's not just Sulli in the recent years that we've lost, and Jonghyun from SHINee in 2017, Hara, who attempted suicide earlier this year, as well as other famous celebrities like Choi Jin-sil and Park Yong-ha. As you can see from this picture, it's obviously a very painful epidemic, and that doesn't seem to be going away. And with Sulli, it's just making it even more obvious that it might be a pattern. So this is an organization called the OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, including South Korea, United States, Canada, Spain, etc. And as you can see from the right there, so South Korea has the highest suicide rate among this global list of economically developed countries. So it's literally number one, cited in 2017, and I think it was either number one or number two in 2019, followed by Lithuania, Slovenia, Latvia, Russia, and Japan. And you see United States here in the top 10 as well. Also in the United States, CNN, the World News Report, New York Times are all reporting really the highest rate of suicide and depression since World War II, and especially focused around the younger demographics. I'm not trying to judge South Korea. I'm not trying to criticize South Korea. I am Korean American. I was born in Korea, so I really love my home country. And I don't mean to sound like I'm hating on my own country. That's not what I'm doing. I care about this issue so much. This is a serious problem. And if we could solve it, it would really have global implications for everybody involved to prevent all these young people from dying. 한국 사람으로서 진짜 조국인 한국을 사랑하는 마음으로 이 미디어를 만들고 싶었는데요. 네, 제가 한국 사회를 비판하려고 그러는 것이 아니라 우울증과 자살이 일어나는 현상에 대해서 모두에게 보도해드리고 싶었습니다. You know, Sulli and Jonghyun, they won't come back to life, obviously. And talking about them is painful. And they were such great singers and performers in their own way, and there's such a following. It's so sad to see them go, but we do have to talk about what's beyond that the grief, because every time something like this happens, we just talk about it and then we just seem to just forget, and it just keeps repeating itself. And my friend from UNC messaged me on Instagram saying, hey, this is just a cycle. Even if it happens and people are sad, but we'll just forget about it afterwards, and it can definitely help stop more people from the same pattern, and more celebrities and more young people in South Korea from dying unnecessarily. There's really an undeniable frequency among the younger celebrities who seem to be exhibiting a pattern of suicide. And there's also a former president, Jonghyun, who committed suicide as well. So very high-profile celebrities. I'm doing this to talk about the possible causes too. There's already a lot of opinions out there, and a lot of people and psychologists and professors are citing the Korean culture, the fact that South Korea evolved way too quickly out of the Korean War. And cyberbullying is definitely up there for these celebrities, open and public on social media. There's a lot of cyberbullying among the public who call them out on all kinds of appearance-based insecurities or whatever mistakes they make on camera. They tend to be very judgmental. There's also high stress and high standards in the professional field of entertainment media. And there's also a lack of awareness around depression and self-care in general. So my assumption is that because these celebrities and the management companies don't really care about depression or mental health in a way that they should be cared about. Number 3, I wanted to critique the current response against depression and suicide in general in South Korea, in America, and how we could improve on that, and at the end brainstorm some possible ideas and solutions. I just want to come back to this list again and call out their names for those of you who might not be familiar. In the middle there is Sulli. It's just yesterday who was reported to have committed suicide after suffering from depression. She supposedly suffered from a lot of the akpul or the cyberbullying comments. And Hara from former Kara group,
and Jonghyun from Shiny. And Jonghyun is definitely a specific case where he definitely suffered from cyberbullying, and he posted on Instagram multiple times, trying to kind of protect his reputation against these false claims and false accusations. Other celebrities here, just from left to right, so that's Jonghyun on the top. Two to the right, the woman is Choi Jin-sil, which is one of the most famous and successful Korean actresses, and her former husband. To the right of Choi Jin-sil is Park Yong-ha, who also committed suicide back in 2010. And all the way to the right is Lee Eun-ju, and to the bottom there is Kim Da-eul, supermodel internationally. Next is singer, rapper Uni. Bottom there, next to Uni, is Jung Da-bin, who again committed suicide back in 2007. And right to the right of Hara is Choi Jin-sil's brother. So this is basically an example of cyberbullying on this former singer in Korea back in 2005, 2007. And her name is Uni, as you can see from the picture bottom right. So I just compiled a list of different cyberbullying comments made on one of our videos on a public video content website, and it's really just disgusting and shocking to read some of these comments that these people on the internet write about her. And apparently she really suffered from these public criticisms, and I have a list of English translations here just for English speaking audiences. So what they said is basically, from the top left there, your nose looks too high now, go fix it. Whoever this Park Yongman guy is, you fix your own fucking nose. It just pisses me off whenever I read this cyberbullies. Uni, can you please, you disgust me every time I see you on TV. It makes me want to smash the television. Just don't look at the television, you stupid idiot. Person here, TPQLS, calls her so freaking disgusting and gross. You get breast implant surgery, you think you're sexy now, you're so pathetic. I mean, breast surgeries are fine, to be honest. Who are you to judge somebody else for getting their surgery? I hate Uni. Just admit you did breast surgery, not deny it, and don't try to be cute in front of male guests on TV. I mean, it's really her business. Whatever she did on TV, it's not a thing you should hate. Uni, you're a disgusting slut, and you're more slutty on music videos. Piss me off. She's doing it for the crowds, right? I mean, whatever sex appeal she was appealing on television, everybody really does it to get more viewers. Stop coming out on TV. I can see inside your nose from here. A lot of Korean people are very judgmental about people with faces with plastic surgery. You have no attractiveness nowadays. You can buy attractive with money easy. Uni, I saw your photos before your breast surgery. LOL. Cheap looking woman with plastic surgery addiction. I mean, it's really her business whether she gets plastic surgery or not. I guess technically you can buy attractiveness with money now, but it really has nothing to do with none of your business, to be honest. So it just pisses me off when I kind of read these comments. So that's just an example, but really, on this slide I wanted to comment on what kind of big areas might be impacting these K-pop celebrities and younger celebrities in general. First, on the left there is the South Korean culture. I think the impact of culture is very big. They're heavily driven by the need for success, 성공해야 된다는 mentality, and their need for and obviously these entertainers want to be popular, they want to be loved. So they're carrying that from the culture that worships these K-pop celebrities, worship television actors and entertainers. And then because of that, the need to gain that success, because it's so revered, now they have all this performance pressure, doing well on the songs and albums, selling as much as possible, going to as many concerts as possible, caring about all these as many fans as possible, and I'm sure there will be all kinds of stress related to that, and they're in a way competing against each other in the K-pop space, and nowadays there's so many groups and boy groups and girl groups now, it's hard to tell who's who. And the third area you see on the right is the cyberbullying. It's obviously a major source of stress for them. Even Jonghyun and Sulli and I think Hara, in a way, all the celebrities that we mentioned before actually mention these cyberbullies in their dying letters and in their last social media posts, how much it bothered them, how much they hated being misunderstood. So all this public criticism about plastic surgery or whatever they say on camera, all of this must have been very overwhelming for them. And lastly, this is kind of my personal opinion. I do not assume that the management companies or their managers or whoever is taking care of these celebrities are doing a very good job of their caring about their mental health. I mean, it's such a new field, even in America, that nobody really has a solid understanding of depression. So I'm not blaming anybody, but I'm assuming that these very successful celebrities, they probably have no time for self-care in terms of mental self-care, whether it's being in a community, or just de-stressing, or meditation, or caring about their nutrition. I can only assume that they're probably not caring about these things, and they probably need to be educated on what depression is and how to prevent it. So here's just my short critique of what's happening in response and in terms of treatment and prevention against future episodes of suicide and depression, and it's not happening. I haven't seen them get better. I think it's just getting worse. Nobody's really doing anything about it. They say a few words at their funeral. They make a big spectacle about this crying at their funerals, and then there's afterwards the management company or whoever just is doing the same thing. They're not really learning. Nobody's really digging into the underlying causes, and South Korean culture seems to just getting worse and worse. I mean, it's getting a little better in America, so I just want to go through a few of these points. So I'm hearing that, since it's Mental Health Awareness Month, and mental health awareness is definitely gaining momentum, which is good, but people just say we need to get these guys or girls to get more therapy and medication. To be honest, it's a very elementary level of understanding. I mean, yes, technically, if they don't get therapy and medication, then it's definitely worse. But from my 15 years of research, I do know that there's books about this, how the companies that create these depression medication, antidepressants, are very much intertwined with the doctors, psychologists, and psychiatrists to protect the status quo. They generate a lot of revenue and money from prescribing depression medication. So really, there's no real incentive for them to find underlying causes of stress and depression. Second point I want to point out is the cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is obviously a major component of all this, but when people say it's all because of cyberbullying, we should just put the cyberbullies in jail or criminalize them. I mean, I think there is a strong measure that we take against cyberbullies, because the internet is such a public, but it's not all because of cyberbullying. It's not all because of cyberbullying that depression is happening, or suicides are happening, in my opinion. And some people say that it's the management company's fault, whether it's SM or YG or whoever the big Korean management companies are. I don't think that's entirely their fault either. I think they can definitely take some responsibility for not doing the things that I mentioned that they should have been doing, like caring about the mental health of their celebrities, depression prevention, and all of those stuff. But I mean, I'm sure they don't know. I'm sure they're not hiring a group of qualified therapists to tag along with these groups. I think that's what they should be doing. I think they should be hiring a group of very qualified therapists and psychotherapists to be able to support these singers and entertainers on their tough schedules. And number 4 is, let's throw more money into mental health awareness. Whenever something sad happens, there's all these companies or donors who are giving millions and billions of dollars away to mental health awareness clinics or government initiatives. I have no idea where all that money is going. I guess it's not going into the right places. If you just throw that into the mental health clinics, there will just be more medication. That's just treating the symptoms. That's not treating the actual causes, in my opinion. And if you want to see actual results, you don't just throw money at the problem. You have to actually diagnose and create the right solutions to the problems. And the last thing that I want to say is that some of the doctors and psychologists say that whenever these celebrities commit suicide or attempt suicide, that they they're too sensitive. These people are too sensitive, and they need to work on their personality. I mean, that's not true. Like, my strong opinion is that creativity and sensitivity are linked. So when you say that these artists are sensitive, that's like saying that these artists are artistic. The sensitivity and artists just go hand in hand. We can't just fix one thing, like I mentioned before, because there's so many. There's a mix of causes. There's not just one cause, but there are a mix of causes. Jonghyun had his own specific causes, cyberbullying, but also numerous other causes. Sulli had her own set of causes. Hara had her own problems with romantic relationship, with a lawsuit. In Chajin, the same with her marriage and fighting for custody of her children. So it's not just one thing, and many of these celebrities have their individual causes, but also they are deeply impacted by the society and the cultural factors. At the society level, we definitely need to fix the cyberbullying part. But when we say they need to be punished, we can't just tell them to stop. It's like telling bullies to stop bullying people at work or at school. That's just not going to work. They're going to keep doing what they're doing. So either we forcefully remove them from the equation, or punish them whenever they do so through basically like police action in the internet space, basically. So if we can remove their anonymity, so they can't say mean things and harmful things without being responsible for them, that could be a beneficial action, where there will be a permanent record of comments history following you around. Then people would think twice before ruining their own reputation for criticizing somebody else's plastic surgery, for example. At the individual level, teach these K-pop stars and other young people in South Korea that they need to limit negative social stimuli. So it's not just limiting social media, but limiting the negative parts of social media. Less comparison, less cyberbullying. These celebrities learn how to be resilient against cyberbullying. I think they need to have that as well, because they can't protect themselves all the time forcefully. So I think techniques such as reframing, cognitive behavior therapy, positive self-talk, meditation, it could really go a long way towards helping these people. And also, I think we definitely need to promote an improved understanding of depression, how to care about, how to dedicate time and schedule time for self-care, and how to the importance of a dedicated psychotherapist, and surrounding yourself with a positive social community. At the end, it's really the South Korean culture, I think, as a society, that we need to look at how we should destigmatize depression. And it's really the same all over the world, I think, even in the United States, that people think of depression as weakness or something to be ashamed of. I think we need to be comfortable saying that it's okay to be depressed. It's okay to have clinical depression. A lot of people have it. A lot of people are sensitive to it. We can overcome it together. And I also believe that there needs to be an enhanced understanding of this mental illness and what causes suicide. And some people say it's a chemical imbalance. This research done by the Harvard Medical School that says that it's much more complicated than just a random chemical imbalance that causes people to be depressed. There's causes, there's triggers, there's stress triggers, and I think we all need to look into that enhanced understanding. And I believe we need to treat the real underlying causes behind the mental illness and not just symptoms. Even the doctors are used to treating the brain as a black box that we can't measure. Whatever testing measures that can be used for diagnosis, with the brain and mental illnesses, it often becomes very difficult. But just because it's difficult doesn't mean that we should give up. When it comes to depression, it's very complicated. It's even spiritual elements, and I think we need to look into that deeper. And lastly, when a person is depressed, they're very become prone to isolation. And I believe communal effort and support, meaning just bonding together and being social together, can be very important for your mental health. And I'm not sure if these K-pop celebrities were isolated before their death, but I do hear some celebrities who depart from their original groups. I think usually when they're performing or traveling or touring in a group, I can see how that could be a little better as a support system for each other and prevention against depression than solo artists, for example. but that's just a hypothesis. But I can't stress enough that community is very important. So really, this is the last slide. I think we can all help stop the epidemic, the depression and suicide epidemic, from going even worse and exploding. We can't bring the dead back, but we can definitely help whoever's living now. And really, I think it should be a multi-layered collaboration. It's not just throw more money at pharmacology or psychology that's going to solve the situation, or mental health clinics or suicide hotlines. I don't think throwing more money will solve anything. I think it's the dedicated, committed citizens who needs to find out what's really causing this and treat the underlying, the origin of these problems. And again, the causes are pretty multidimensional. It's part culture, it's part social media, part cyberbullying, part lack of understanding about depression and self-care. And I believe all of them might be at the heart of the depression, which makes it more complicated.